honest, I'm not very diverse in the world.
Well, you'll learn. You'll learn. The world's much more isolated now than it used to be. It used to be far different. Pretty much, well, certainly every city, most every town, even when they were really pressing it, was connected by the teleportation network. The Arcana Mystica had it all set up for us. You could just walk in one side and walk out the other for a charge, but it was worth it. You were able to get where you needed to go right when you needed to get there. Distance meant nothing to anybody. That was 80 years ago now, 75. This old mind, it forgets.
Like my face kind of just like drops, like that's ordinary. Sort of like that. And that's just like, no wonder I've never heard of this. Oh, what happened?
What happened? What do you mean, what happened? Everyone knows what happened.
Uh, my village, we only
Uh,
hear news on passing travelers. We're very isolated.
I
Very.
understand. Youngsters these days. Ah, well. I forget that news doesn't travel. When people don't travel, news doesn't travel, right? I guess that's the way it is.
Mm,
Well, it was it was the warlocks, the tieflings. Damn tieflings. Ruined it all for everybody. They there was a fight. There was this big altercation. Well, it's hard to get into all of it unless I start all the way at the beginning. How much time do you have?
I'm here all night. Oh,
Well, the teleportation network, Arcana Mystica out of Balathara, you know, had for years, eons, well, probably not eons, older than me, we'll say that. They controlled all transport across the country, all trade, because they had the teleportation network. Their magic created it, or there's rumors that maybe they didn't create it, maybe they just built on top of it. But, regardless, basically you could get from anywhere to anywhere else, you, yourself, your goods, whatever you needed. You just hopped on, paid your price, and off you go. Well, of course, whenever there's money to be made, there's others who want to make it too, right? So, along came Zephyr Consortium, that was a wonderful group. Cheap, cheap way to get goods around. Took a bit longer because, of course, you had to put it on the airships back when we could fly. But once that all went away, we ended up where we are now. Well, isolated, one side against the other with only teleportation again. The Arcana Mystica, of course, now had their monopoly back. Prices were rising, things were getting worse. But those clever gnomes, the Zephyr Consortium, they didn't give up. So they came up with the grand plan to build the Vice. They went out, got a sponsor, and started to dig a road. I say dig because it was hard work, I tell you. And the only people they could get to do the work was the tieflings out of Darixus. They used their warlocks and their magic in order to cut through that forest. Spending every bit of magic they had, they delved far too deep, is what people say. Sending magic across the countryside to reinforce the workers as they dug their way through the Midnight Weald. All the while, the Arcanic Mystica was sending spies and saboteurs through their teleportation network to make sure that the road could never be built. And then, no one knows. People say the warlocks pushed too far. That maybe the Grand Patrons got loose. Something happened. All we know is Darixus was destroyed. Utterly. The entire capital city of the Tieflings wiped off the map. Teleportation network completely unusable. None of the sigils would work, none of the patterns would work, none of the combinations to get anywhere. It was completely destroyed. And the vice, in the meantime, was finished, but the workers were never found from again.
Like the look gives him like his face has been changing emotions rapidly through this. It's like intrigue, a bit of confusion here and there, and then leaning back. Would I have ever heard of a thief?
You, I, hey,